Wishbass Cherrywood Hipper, number 1061. And I'm going to do a little bit of in-progress documentation of the finishing and cleaning up of this Wishbass, which I bought brand new off of eBay for $200 plus shipping from Wishbass, Steve Wisniewski. The base has been totally stripped of all its electronics and hardware. The tuners are taken off, the pickups out, strings are off, of course, the bridge and nut has been removed as well. The nut was knocked off and that's gone. All those pieces are saved, of course. And what this base needed was some smoothing out and, of course, getting off the finish. I bought this on eBay, so it had the sprayed lacquer finish, which I had to remove. And the first thing I check on a new Wishbass is the neck. See how accurate the fingerboard is. And you can use a straight edge, and by holding it up against the fingerboard, you can see where the gaps are in the straight edge. But this method will reveal any dips or humps in the fingerboard and give you a plan and a way to keep checking as you sand it down to level it out. So the first thing I set about on this was to level out the fingerboard. I'm about 90% of the way there. I've been using this radius block from Stuart McDonald. StuMac is where I got it. It's a 12-inch radius. Nice piece of wood that's perfectly machined to be a 12-inch radius, so you can smooth out, level out the fingerboard. Put different, depending on how hard you need to go. You want to go slowly, a little bit at a time. I use 120, 240, and then you go on up to as high as you feel like. But you use the thicker ones, the 120 and the 240, to bring down the board where you need. You sand it down, check it again with your flat edge, and get the fingerboard as level as you can. Once it's level, you can use very fine grains of sandpaper to make it really shiny smooth, which is not quite there yet. This is an IP or an IPA fingerboard, some American hardwood. The neck on this Wishbass is outer stringers of mahogany, and then maple, and then the center is Purple Heart. Purple Heart's very dense. It gives the neck a lot of stiffness and stability. It came with an EMG Select J pickup in there and a volume control. And let's talk about some of the other things I've done right away. If we look at the string through holes, we see that they've been filled in with wood epoxy. My luthier uses a dowel and glue, but because these are holes of various dimensions that get narrow and then wide at the end, I find wood epoxy works better. I filled them in because of the way they were spaced. If you look, this one is a little bit outside the barrier of the neck, and the space between this string and this string was 20 millimeters, and this string to this string was 20 millimeters, and this string to this string was 28 millimeters. So when the string spacing is off in the source holes, there's a couple things you can do. One is you can simply notch the bridge so that the strings come out of the hole and maybe angle a little bit to where they belong on a notched bridge. And the notches in the bridge will align them properly. The other thing I decided to do, which I've done in the past and undone, but I'm going to go with it this time, I'm putting a bridge on this one. I just decided that it's in the quest for, this is number 7, and so in the quest for something different and maybe a different kind of tone, so I filled these holes in because I will be installing a bridge. And I actually got a really cool old brass bridge with the 19 millimeter string spacing made by Stars Guitars. So besides the fingerboard and the filling in of the string through holes for alignment purposes, basically everything else is pretty much smoothing out and correcting roughness. You can start up here at the headstock. This whole heel here has had a lot of wood taken out and shaped. One of the reasons was the neck was a little bit wider than the fingerboard at the end here, so I had to bring down the neck somewhat and make them more flush and rounded. The other thing I did was I took away the edge that's here. This is where the strings pass to the tuners, and oftentimes a Wishbass, the strings will rub up against the wood on the way to the tuner. The other place that this bass needed a lot of work, and still does, is the neck, and where the neck joins to the body. And where are we? Right here, this join had a big ledge and a very kind of odd, angular, uneven join, and this has all been sanded with the power drum sander and hand sanded and smoothed out significantly. Same with the bottom horn. It has been taken down to a nice curve, a smooth angle here, where there once was kind of an angular and lumpy, and there's still some irregularities in the overall shape of the neck, some bumps here and there. It's only just begun to be sanded, and so the neck will be probably have about another 4 or 5% of its mass reduced through just extensive sanding. I've also started sanding the body just to basically take off the finish. He had the front strap button on the inside, and I'm going to move it to the end where we're more comfortable with it. So I filled in that hole as well. So what's left now is basically to, with power tools, power sanders, and hand sanders and sanding blocks, finish smoothing, rounding, and shaping the neck, the headstock. And I'll have to route again for battery and route for bigger pickup. And I'm going to use the same pickup cover and same control cavity that's there. I'm not going to need to change that. So now it's just all elbow grease, a little fine tuning on the fingerboard, and then I oil it up, put it back together. So far we're about 3 hours of work into it, and I'm come a long way towards my goal. Cherrywood Hipper, number 1061.